I was going through the comment section on the video I did about the episode synopsis for episode 14. You know, the whole thing about Karen and Danny having friction, or the tension growing between the two, because Danny's going to be running her mouth about the whole Karen baby daddy stuff, and Karen's going to tell her to keep it to herself, but she doesn't. And some people are thinking, like, you know, yeah, if you go back to like season 1, the friction was always there, but I wonder if the friction between these two goes back to, you know, the college days where they met up. And I fully agree with that, and I would not be surprised if that's the case, because I look at it from this perspective. The sistervention that took place at Danny's apartment at the end of season 5, I want to say, after the whole Sabrina catches Danny with Q, I think that's when it happened. And then it was, you know, all the girls there talking to Danny, and Danny just lit them up. I think something like that may have happened in college as well, because they always bring up like, hey, remember how wild you were in college, and then that one dude, you know, assaulted you and stuff like that. I think they probably had a sistervention then, and then Karen, being one of the voices of reason, so to speak, was saying, you know, she wants her to be careful. But if you remember what Danny told Zach about Karen at the airport in season 7A, about how she was a bit of a wild child and a garden tool in college as well, it almost makes me think that, yeah, Karen was basically like Danny, but she probably made better choices, because I don't recall any of the girls talking about how she went through any abusive relationships in college like Andy did or Danny did. So I'm willing to bet that Karen always had that elitism, kind of that superiority complex, where she felt she was better than everyone, especially Danny. So I don't think this tension thing is anything new. You know, I feel like, if nothing else, these two just tolerate each other due to their connection to Andy, I'm guessing. But I do feel like that is a valid theory, that the, you know, tension between these two goes back to even the college days. They never really got along. I highly doubt that Danny and Karen ever spent any alone time together with just the two of them. You know, it was probably either Sabrina and or Andy with the group, because these two don't really, if I remember correctly, the only time I recall these two even having a scene alone together in Sistas was season 4, or was it the back half of season 3? Yeah, I think it was the back half of season 3, when Karen went to the airport to talk with Danny just because Zach wasn't answering her phone calls. And then she asked Danny, hey, can me and Zach meet up at your place so we can talk? I think that was it. And then as soon as Zach left, you know, that's when Danny tried to talk sense into Karen, but it wasn't happening. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe over the years of their sister circle bond, I don't even want to say friendship, Karen may have come to Danny once or twice for no holds barred information or advice, but yeah, the tension was always there. I think, you know, at the core, though, there is somewhat of a mutual respect. I'm not saying friendship, but I mean like respect, you know, from Karen respecting that, unlike Andy and Sabrina, what annoys her about Danny is that she doesn't fall in line or do what she's told, but she's a woman who thinks for herself. So she knows, like, I can't ask Andy for advice. I can't ask Sabrina, because they'll just tell me what I want to hear. If I want the real talk, I need to talk with Danny. And on the flip side, Danny might look at Karen like, you know, well, you're a strong woman who's stubborn and whatnot, but at the end of the day, you started your own business while I'm working at this airport, you know, in a dead-end job, even though I went to college. So I feel like there's a, kind of like with Zatima and Karen, there's a mutual coolness there where they can respect the other person, but they don't necessarily like the other person. I'll leave it at that. So let me know what you think. Do you think the tension between Karen and Danny was always there since the beginning of the sister circle back in their college days, and things are just going to enhance over time because I feel like Danny is going to blab her mouth, not just because it's a character trait of hers, but the fact that I have no doubt in my mind Karen was always taking, you know, cheap shots at Danny's expense, either to her face or mostly behind her back. So like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.